history of the Culinary Institute of America began in 1946 in New Haven, Connecticut, where it was founded as a vocational institute for returning veterans of World War II. The number of enrolled women has been increasing since the school opened in 1946, with its first graduating class having one woman among 50 students. By 1980, 20% of students were female, which rose to 30% by the year 2000 and 40% by 2006. In 2017, women became the majority at the school, although it is often cited that women were not admitted to the school until 1970. There was one woman in the first class held, 4 in the next, and more in almost every class since then. While this progress should be celebrated, today we must ask ourselves, how can it be that this momentum to increase diversity in our student body has not been applied towards the teaching chefs and our instructors?
When I have a female boss, I feel safer. I definitely think that there's a big problem with the Me Too movement. I think everyone is really anxious about it all the time. I think it's terrible that we have to be, but it's just the reality of the situation. When I'm working for a woman, I feel much less anxious coming into work. I feel like I'm not going to get passes made at me. I feel like it's not going to be tolerated if other coworkers make passes at me, which has happened very often in the past, and it's caused me a lot of grief. I've had to quit jobs before because of it.
My name is Stefan White, and I am in an associate's degree for culinary arts. I'm from Pennsylvania.
Hi, my name is Kim, and I'm a senior in the Food Business Management program.
Araceli Asher. I'm a second semester freshman at the Culinary Institute of America, and I am the chairman of the Diversity Committee.
I have had 0 female chefs as my actual teacher in the culinary program, with the exception of 2 to 3 substitutes. 2 of those substitutes were Chef Eisenhower for Cuisines of Asia, and the other chef was Chef Kirchner from the Bake Shop program, teaching Bake Shop for culinary.
0.
There is a couple of chefs here that are generally like the minority in America, so having those gives like hope and belief for students of color.
The CIA hiring process is a gray area in general. I think that the standards for hiring chefs of any caliber are very high, and I have heard from experience from teachers who shall not be named that it's difficult to get into a professor position or a chef position in the first place. You have to have a set guidelines, which I am not aware of what those are. However, all of the ones that I have heard from, it seems to be a rigorous process that is male-dominated.
So many women of color working here. Like, that's amazing. That's fantastic. Like, throughout history, everyone who's been working with food has mainly been women. Professionally, it's been men, because everything professionally has been men. But women are the forefront of food. We are the forefront of holding that food culture because of the society and the way societies are run. And yet, so few women have a say in how things get done today and how we get trained, and I think that's terrible.
And as far as every other restaurant I have worked so far, that's the same case, and usually the hard labor workers are minorities.
Well, unfortunately, in the several jobs that I've had over the years, I have never seen a female manager in the back of house position. With the exception of another job that I worked at during my externship, they had a whole female front of house management, with the exception of the GM, who was male.
Like, the only girl, I was really anxious. Every person that I was talking to was like, oh my God, you're in culinary? Like, it's really sexist. It's very expected that I'm going to be a baking student, which I love baking, don't get me wrong, but I am a culinary student, and I definitely think that it affects everything in the school.
They're in search of, fitting a quota, and whenever movements like the BLM happen, I think that it really pushes people to be aware of who they have in charge, and it also gives hope for the people that are making these things happen.
I think that having a female chef instructor of any kind is very personal to the women in the industry. Culinary for females is a non-traditional area, and I think that we cannot relate to certain ideas or concepts because it's being taught of someone of a different gender. I think a female bringing in her experience from the industry is different because she was treated differently, and we will be treated differently as well.
First woman of color chef that I have seen was here, Chef Sanders, in Fundamentals. So
I believe that the standards for hiring at the CIA are high, and I could think that it hinders diversity in the sense that there are a lot of chefs that come from the same kind of background in a fine dining setting, and that is a very homogenous way of teaching and a homogenous way that they learn their skills in the real world, which I feel that if you have one standard of hiring and they all come from the same area, it's not diversity in terms of intellectual and experience on that end. I think they need to have some different areas to touch on, hiring from different areas that aren't fine dining, so that they promote diversity not just with gender or race, but also of their intelligence.